Good evening. Today is Wednesday, the Wednesday of Holy Week, April 8th. Our meditation this evening is based on Psalm 13, and it is called From Darkness Toward Light. How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I bear the pain in my soul and have sorrow in my heart all day long? How long shall my enemy be exalted over me? Consider and answer me, O Lord my God. Give light to my eyes, or I will sleep the sleep of death, and my enemy will say, I have prevailed. My foes will rejoice because I am shaken. But I trust in your steadfast love. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord, because God has dealt bountifully with me. One of the most beautiful aspects of the book of Psalms is the frankness with which believers express to God all that is in them. Far from limiting themselves to edifying thoughts, the authors of the Psalms cast all their pain and all their despair before God, without sorting out in advance what is acceptable and what is not. This freedom in prayer testifies to an impressive trust in God, even in the middle of the night, and already carries with it the seeds of a new dawn. The author of this psalm sees himself at the bottom of a well, trapped in a suffering that seems unending. What causes his distress more than this or that particular misfortune is the impression that God has abandoned him. Since he no longer feels God's presence, he is left all alone with those inner voices that come from the enemy, which bring him closer and closer to despair. That is the meaning of the word revolt. Those obsessive thoughts that try and conceive us that God no longer loves us, that in fact we deserve our atrocious fate. But then, instead of letting his darkness speak to him, the psalmist makes a leap of trust and lifts up his groaning to God. From the depth of his darkness, he remembers God's faithful love for him. He makes a choice, refusing to consent to the victory of an enemy. And as a result, a new beginning is made possible. A small space opens up, large enough for God to rush in, and the lament can turn into a song of praise for a rediscovered communion. And here are three questions to reflect upon. Number one, where can I find the trust to express in prayer everything that is in me without wearing any mask in God's presence? What Bible text can be helpful when the enemy tries to separate me from God's love? And what enables me to keep awake instead of shutting my eyes out of fear or routine? And the prayer for this evening: God of all loving, while should we wait for our hearts to be changed in order to go to you? You transfigure them. In our womb themselves, you enable a communion with you to grow, and the gates of praise open within us. I wish you a good evening, a good night, and please join on watching a Monday Thursday service tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. on YouTube. And then join me on Friday evening for a Facebook Live reading and reflections on the 7 words of Jesus on the cross. And on Sunday morning, please also join me on Facebook Live for our Easter service, but a full-fledged service you can find on our YouTube page, FCC Sharon. And when you go to our YouTube page, look at not YouTube, but also Facebook. When you go there, when you watch it, share it, like it, pass it on to anyone you know. That's how we get our word out. But for now, I wish you a good evening and a good night.